What we are offering here is a new approach to the division of labor and innovation, where companies can save monies because they can identify user innovations already developed.
Finding and collecting innovation lying around, which is also relevant for your business, this sounds too good to be true.
Well, if you look at the approach, it's not a mystery. It's rather a straightforward recombination of methods, but we're anticipating here some method details already, so maybe let's start at the beginning. The method we are talking about is published in an article called Next Generation Consumer Innovation Search, Identifying Early-Stage Need Solution Pairs on the Web.
Two brilliant minds combined their skills to create something new.
And the result is a method describing how AI can enhance the search for true innovation.
Professor at MIT, I study innovation and where innovations come from. I've been doing it now for 30, 40 years and have a large community of people who work with me on this topic.
My name is Sandro Kaulartz, and I'm working for Ipsos, global market research companies, and within I'm working in the area of social intelligence and analytics, and within I'm in charge of building analytic products, having the pleasure with work like people like Eric and academics to really build new capabilities and methods, specifically for unstructured social data.
We had the pleasure to interview them in order to find out more about the result of this collaboration. Let's see whether this new method is an interesting business case for companies.
The problem that Eric and I wanted to solve is there is this wide field of user innovations, but it's widely unknown to producers because there's no easy access to it.
Marketing research, when it looks at the center of a market, is always behind. There is a leading edge, and in the leading edge, you discover people who have innovated for their own purposes. Our research shows that the pioneers are always users, essentially, when function is novel, because producers cannot estimate the market. They have no idea how many people will want a skateboard or a heart-lung machine. No idea at all. But the doctor who wants a heart-lung machine knows exactly what he wants and can justify building it. The result of this is that there are many innovations that companies never even thought of asking about that can be discovered and considered by companies for commercialization.
I think what we really wanted to do is to give producers easy access to this landscape of user innovations they may not be aware of. And while that was incredibly challenging in the past, now with the availability of large data, with the available AI methods at everybody's fingertips, there's no reason not to look at it to design more user-centric innovation processes.
As a summary, you can say that you are able to find new functionality, new applications or related products and services to your business, and already in a hands-on prototype form. This is much more than just an idea. It's a quick start into realization that can save months of trial and error in my experience.
Well, let's have a look at how this method works. Basically, it has 4 major steps. Step number 1 is web scraping for user-generated content. And it leaves us with a huge pile of blog posts, community comments, and so on. It's then followed by step number 2, which is finding the concept of innovation within the content. We use search terms like do-it-yourself, innovation, inventions, or problem solving. But you're interested not in general innovations, but specifically in user innovation. And therefore you filter for this concept as well. And you use terms like I, myself, we, or action-oriented verbs like invented. And the result is now a condensed and highly relevant selection that can be handled by humans. And this is actually step number 3, validate the content. And this must be done by a subject matter expert who's able to filter out the true innovative content. It should be, for example, the same person who defined the search field in the first step. And this is actually what AI cannot judge, but humans can. And you have a nice set of innovations as a result. But you still need to find out the relevance for a broader public. And this is step number 4, a trend analysis. And more than just a few people should be interested. And basically, this is why step number 4 filters out the too personal or too specific solutions.
Anybody who wants to use this method wants to know how much effort it is.
So far, from the most recent pilots, it depends a little bit on the depth of insight that you want to deliver, right? So it's a question of scope. But in the very last one, it took us 10 days with the team of 4 people from the moment that you have your data corpus collected from the web until you're in a position to deliver the insights to your client. So it's fairly fast. So I'm completely ignoring the fact that we have been working with Eric for almost 2 years to get there. But now as the algorithm is highly transferable across categories, there's also less need for data scientists to adjust it to specific categories. So it can be incredibly fast. So the moment you get it done once, the scalability is quite high.
Well, I think this is the core effort, but there might be some additional effort.
Let's compare this to a typical creative innovation workshop that has the same goal: thinking out of the box, finding something new. For each prototype idea, it takes roughly 105 working days. But with the AI filter method, you end up with maybe 3 promising prototypes. So you can see that it takes 2 to maybe 6 times more effort to reach the same result conventionally.
Okay, this is like a bypass. And I think especially in markets with time pressure, this is quite attractive to speed things up. But this sounds all too good. But I've learned there's no free lunch in business. So what are the pitfalls? Are there any limitations we should be aware of?
I have done research on open innovation where companies assume that any external contribution comes for free. It doesn't. You have to take care about the contributors, the lead users. They don't like getting ripped off.
Okay, but hear what Eric has to say.
Yeah, they're trying to save their own lives. They're doing something they enjoy, or whatever it might be, but they are rewarding themselves. That's right. And the companies, by the way, when they adopt user-developed innovations, they seldom acknowledge the source. They say, look at our marvelous XYZ. So I think corrections have to be done there too. Search for lead user innovations. You'll have to improve them to make them producible and so on. But then acknowledge where you got it from.
Here we are. This implies that you work together with the lead users. You involve them, you inform them, you acknowledge them. I can promise you that you will earn a shitstorm using the implemented ideas without feedback.
Okay, what do you mean?
That you have to institutionalize the interaction with the lead users, even if they don't insist on royalties. This is a new role within the company.
Oh, and that must be paid.
Yeah, but since the trend is going towards creating user involvement in companies anyhow, emotional ecosystems, brand worlds, this might be neatly combined with such a role. I can ask you the same. I know of so many companies that fail to implement the benefits of AI.
Oh, really? Basically, the only companies that seriously fail to implement AI that I know of are the companies that just didn't start with it. Actually, all the others at least learned something and started all over again. What is new about this? Isn't the concept of lead user around for decades?
True, yet it was applied only sparsely in practice.
It was costly for companies. They would continuously come and say, this is so hard. We know it's out there, but it's simply too hard. So we think, Sandro and I think Ipsos as well, and many academics, that finally, when we get this down to 10 days, finally people can start to really interface with lead user innovations.
But I can ask you the same. What is new about the AI application?
Actually nothing. It's based on well-known models.
So we have here an excellent example of creating innovation by combining two proven concepts into a new application.
So let's draw a conclusion.
I think this is really promising.
Well, if a company is really interested in innovation, meaning thinking out of the box, this is a very efficient way to approach it, even as a one-time endeavor.
Considering the cost of traditional creativity approaches, I do not see a hindrance why not to try it.
If you take care of the people you involve in your innovation endeavor.
We still see a lot of innovation failing in the markets. And one reason for it is that they may be not grounded deep enough on really true consumer problems. And the hope for us is to really learn constantly. Our vision is to embed it into a real-time capability where every day you can learn about these are problems that people are facing on the street, and these are the solutions that correspond to these emerging needs.
What we are offering here is a new approach to the division of labor and innovation, where companies can save monies because they can identify user innovations already developed.